guys, Ken Smith Fishing. Sorry for this being so late in the week. This is going to be footage from practice. Last Friday afternoon I got to practice for the BFL just a little bit of time. And then the BFL tournament Saturday. No big suspense here, right? I caught one nice fish and it made the difference. It moved me up and I finished 25th, 26th place. Got a check. Not much of a check. Not even sure. I guess I barely covered my entry fees. But what I will say to you is this. And first time I can say this in a long time. I am a much better fisherman today than I was a week ago today. And it's because I learned something. I've had a lot of guys ask me, why haven't I talked anything about my Garmin Livescope? And I haven't talked about it because I haven't felt like I've learned how to use it well enough yet to add anything to the conversation for you guys. And partly that's a little bit time and place, a little bit being intellectually lazy of just getting it installed and not really doing the research. Part of it not having the time on the water with it to really learn it. But I spent some time with Taylor last week, who, by the way, wound up winning Sunday, talking about the settings. I did a bunch of research online looking at the settings. And I can say for absolute sure, I caught, well, I'll tell you what. Let's look at a little bit of the Friday footage and then I'll come back and tell you what I can tell you absolutely sure. I could see that school of fish down there. I saw it, that's why I went back there and picked up that A-rig. I know y'all probably couldn't hear that, but I saw that group of fish and walked back there and picked up that A-rig and threw on them. I had just picked it up and threw over there and whoop, whoop. So there's a giant wad of bait fish under the boat, and you can see the bass in the bait fish because the bass will swim into the bait fish and all of a sudden there's a big hole in them. I went over them and I threw that A-rig back in there, and like I said, you could see the hole in them. That's pretty crazy right there. This guy's right there, just right out in the middle of them, munching on them. So you could see him chasing those fish. You'd see that big wad of bait, and all of a sudden you'd see a hole in the middle, and you could see that fish in the middle of that hole, pushing those bait around. And I went over it, and when I did, I just turned around and walked to the back of the boat. You saw me, and threw right back over them. Apparently there's a bunch of them right there. Fall. That's pretty neat. You know, that's a fish that I never catch those fish probably, because I've seen so much bait, but all of a sudden I saw bait with fish in them, and that's why I walked to the back and threw back over that school of fish, or school of bait. That's fish you wouldn't have caught. Not a big one, but still. And that's 3 fish that I know for sure I would not have caught without that live scope. Now, none of those were difference maker fish, but the fish the next day is. So let me show you kind of what happened on Saturday.
There we go. Nice one.
Okay, so just a bunch of little fish, and I'm not going to sit here and show you the 9 or 10 or 12, 14-inch fish I caught. But this one fish right here, I am fishing along, and I'm sitting in a drain, and I'm throwing up on top of the grass, and the grass is to within 2 or 3 feet of the top of the water. And I'm rolling that trap off the grass, and well, let's talk about the settings. So these are the settings through several things I've kind of settled on as to how I'm going to use this unit in the near term. So I have the gain set about 60, so I'm going to run it 55 to 65. The color gain set between 60 and 70. TVG is low, noise reject is low. But the two key settings that I feel like I now am seeing things I wasn't seeing a week ago is number one, manually set the auto depth. I believe if you don't have that option on your screen where you're looking at it, you just need to do an update, because I believe now the newest update will put that on the option so you don't have to go menu sonar setup every time. So the suggestions I heard from multiple sources, including Taylor and including internet research, is set your depth about 2 feet deeper than the bottom is. So if you're in 12 feet, 14, 15 feet. If you're in 8 feet, 10 feet. If you're in 6 feet, set it on the minimum, which I think is 7 or 8 feet. I don't know why that makes a difference, but I can tell you just based upon this very short bit of experience I have, it is significantly better than what I was using in the prior 4 or 5 months. And then the second thing is I have greatly compressed or expanded, I guess, according to how you want to look at the picture, but I've greatly compressed the amount of water I'm looking at. I'm only looking forward 45 feet, which is a pretty short cast. I'm still going to catch some fish at the end of my cast, but now I have a much clearer picture of what is right in front of me. And I can tell you, I caught multiple fish that I saw right in front of the boat. I did it again Sunday on the Livescope with the Cinco, and I'm not going to show you that footage because they were all knot hits. But this fish right here, watch this. Saw that fish on the GPS, on the Garmin. Grab that.
Got it.
Saw that fish on the Garmin. Just about to sit down and get one. Just about to sit down and get the pay ready.
Really?
I saw her chase the trap up.
All right, well now we got that big one from company.
I'll tell you what, brother. Team tournament right now,
Yeah.
me and you are salty.
Yeah.
That makes 5. And we got 2 that weigh 15. Welcome to Sam Rayburn, boys and girls.
Yeah, boy.
Watch your line. Okay, so I had thrown that trap up on the grass and I had reeled it off the grass and I can't see my bait, but suddenly right in front of my trolling motor at the 15-foot mark, I saw this big fish. And I watched the guy, Josh Jones, and he made a comment that really stuck with me. And the comment he made was, if the Echo is not as big as your A-rig, it's not a very big fish. Well, I fished an A-rig a bunch on Friday, so I knew how big an A-rig looked on a 45-foot scale. And I was in about 9 feet of water, so I had it set at 11 or 12 feet. And I see that fish out there about 7 or 8 feet deep. And my first reaction is, where's my A-rig? Matter of fact, I don't remember the footage or not. Either I looked over my shoulder or I knew my A-rig was right there. And I was about to reel it in and go get my A-rig. And about that time, I see my trap come into the screen. But my trap's only about 3 feet down and that fish is 7 feet down. So I just basically dropped my trap and let it fall, kind of slacklined it. Let it fall down to that fish, got it to the right level. I can see the whole thing. Start reeling to that fish. And I literally saw that fish turn and get that trap, and it was a 6.6. Now, I might have had that fish might have come up 5 feet and bit that trap. I'll bet you money it wouldn't have. But I reeled that bait right to that fish and caught that fish. And I mean, it's like somebody has flipped a light switch on with me. Now to know that I can pick up fish right there in front of the boat, it's going to change how I brush pile fish. It's going to change how I do a lot of things. And that was my aha moment this weekend. I didn't have a great weekend, but I didn't get to practice like a lot of guys did. I cashed a check. I was happy with it. But I feel like I'm a much better fisherman because of it. So you might try those settings on your Livescope. You know, and by the way, I get a lot of questions. I think I talk about it a little bit in this video. There's a difference between Livescope and 360. Very significant difference. I caught a 10-pounder this summer on 360. I saw the fish off a root ball in 12 or 14 feet of water and pitched a worm to it. But to catch fish, to me, the 360 is a better, and by the way, I want to have both on my new boat, but the 360 is a better structure finding thing. Now, I believe Derek, who's been dominating at Rayburn this summer, is using a 360, so obviously he's got the next level figured out. But to fish a target or to fish for a fish you're looking at, I don't believe there's a better option than the Livescope. And I spent just a couple of minutes. The ballistic video, he had a Livescope and we fished for a few minutes. It felt like very similar technology to me. I didn't see any substantial difference, but I don't have the time, truthfully, behind either units to say one is better than the other. But I'll tell you, based upon what I saw this weekend, I'm a better fisherman and I'm going to get better because now I have a whole new understanding of some stuff that I didn't before and a so much better picture. So that's my take on it. That was my weekend. This weekend we're back down for 2 back-to-back Bass Champs tournament. Hopefully we'll catch them. That starts tomorrow. You guys are seeing this on Friday. So we'll be on the water this weekend. I'm fishing with the pie, so it should be entertaining if nothing else. And I hope to see a bunch of you guys down there. Remember, if you're fishing Bass Champs, you still have time to sign up for Spark Energy. Saturday, $4,000 to the highest top 10 finishing Spark customer. Sunday, it's $2,000. Or if nobody wins it Saturday, it's $6,000 Sunday. It is a ton. That's probably more than 3rd or 4th place alone would win just in Spark money. Ton of money up for grabs. You still have the ability to go to sparkfishing.com and change your electricity provider to Spark Energy and get a chance to win that money. So link in the description below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll have a bunch more stuff up for you next week. The grading of the ballistic and whatever this weekend holds for us in the Bass Champs tournament, I'll have that footage up for you next week as well.